Welcome back to my carpet. Today we have a zombie apocalypse. Now these are made or were made by ThreeA toys. They are designer toys. Designer toys are produced by an artist, sometimes in conjunction with a toy company, usually in quite low runs, much lower than usual toys. They're usually for adult collectors. They're usually vinyl, so these are an exception, but they are often the same figure in many different colours and paint apps and designs painted on them. These were an exception because they are actually fully clothed figures, and they're also an exception because they are very poseable, but they very closely mirror Ashley Wood's artwork, who designed all the characters. Now this is from intellectual property created called Adventure Cartel, a story about a zombie apocalypse where a mad scientist produces a zom army. They're called zombs in the story. And the Adventure Cartel is a bunch of heroes that fight against the zombie horde. Now these are 12 scale, so these are 6-inch figures. This head was originally used on a 12-inch version called an Acolyte Zom. 3A started with 1/6 scale figures, and after some years they produced 1/12 scale. And I prefer the 1/12 scale myself. I like little things. This head was used previously on a 6 scale figure, the Acolyte Zom, which was meant to be a more vicious, angry zombie than the original boiler zombs, which were the first ones. As you will see, it's a very curious design. It very much follows Ashley Wood's art. He does very striking painted artwork, but you can see a sort of anime influence on the hair there. And it's they always, what I like about these is they have a very cartoony aesthetic, a very anime kind of aesthetic to them, but then they are painted really realistically, so you have a kind of comic stylized sculpt, but it's painted as if it was the most realistic sculpt you've ever seen in your life. And I kind of liked that sort of mismatch with these. So he has very cool hair and a very cool face, but it is very stylized. But the painting is extraordinary on it. It's very weathered. I'm just trying to get it to focus. I always have this problem, as you'll know if you are a victim of my other videos. Now the clothing on these is really impressive. The material is very tightly woven. They have functioning pockets. This is a 6-inch figure. A working zip. He's got a t-shirt on underneath that boiler suit, and they are very poseable. The boots just push onto the end of the legs. There's no actual joint, but it does mean that you can swivel them side to side. He has double jointed knees, swiveling thighs, ball jointed hips, and ab crunch. He has very elaborate shoulder blades. It's not really a butterfly joint, but it has got a fiendish hinge in the back, like shoulder blades, that let you move the shoulders forward and back. Ball jointed shoulders, swiveling biceps, double jointed elbows, ball jointed wrists, and a ball jointed neck. The costume is very well made, but distressed. They've put holes in it. They've applied paint to make it look dirty. It's really impressive stuff. It has to be said that if you wash the clothes, some of the weathering does come off. Turn him around, you would just see the kind of distress to the outfit. It's got patches sewn on the elbows, patches sewn on the knees, and he's great. Now, the other one I've got to show you, you'll notice is the same apart from the colour of the outfit and the head. So this is the other head, or an other head. This one, unlike the others, was only ever used on this figure. Let me get it, there we go. Now this one is meant to be a medic, and it's a recurring theme in ThreeA toys that the medics of any specific army are white with a red sleeve. So there are medic robots that are white with a red arm. There are medic zombs that wear a white suit with a red arm. There's a medic soldier in World War Robot that is white with a red arm. It repeats that sort of idea. He's exactly the same apart from the head sculpt. And this is what I mean about designer toys being the same figure repainted. But these are amazing. Some of my favourite ever figures. I just love the faces. They look like, well, they look like they should be called Cletus and Linus, don't they? This one's meant to be slightly more vicious than this one, I think. But they look really, as if they're really stupid. And they're very poseable. They're very well made. The weathering is, it's really the focus of these, rather than playability, rather than being a licensed product. The focus is the appearance, the art of the figure. So it's all about the weathering, the paint apps and the design. But ThreeA were an exception because they are also extremely poseable. I might be repeating myself here, but the vast majority of designer toys are just semi-poseable vinyl figures. These really were an exception to the designer toy ethos. I suppose you could call the early Spawn figures designer toys in a way, because they were all designed and produced by Todd McFarlane. These were done by Ashley Wood, who started on the Curse of the Spawn comic in the 90s. ThreeA is no longer in business. The partnership broke up, but Ashley Wood has set up his own company called Underverse, who is producing toys very much based on these worlds still. But they have all been 6 scale so far. But I think they're very photogenic. He has actually got eyes, it's just hard to see. But they're amazing. I just love them. There's not much else I can say. Much else? That isn't even English, but you know what I'm saying. Thank you all for bearing with me, and I would recommend ThreeA toys to any of you that like this sort of thing. They are an acquired taste, I guess, but I absolutely love them. Zombs in this size were produced carded, mostly. There's 3 or 4 different heads. This is just 2 of them. So check them out. The 12-inch ones are more or less exactly the same, but massive. I mean, I say 12-inch, they're 6 scale, so they're more sort of 13.5 inches, but they are huge, and huge in your hands, and I much prefer the smaller ones myself. But I think I'm a minority. The vast majority of 3A fans like the 6-scale ones. So thank you all for viewing. Any questions? Feel free.